Yeah. So let's get right into it, man. So in this video, I want to go into like a story and what that story taught me and the lessons I learned from this story and from this experience, right? And it came from this artist who I would consider also an entrepreneur. And one of the lessons was sticking to one thing, knowing what you want and not chasing. So let me, and the reason why I was inspired to make this video was because what I'm seeing in a lot of people that I've come across, even I've experienced this, was folks who think they can do multiple things, right? Who can do different things, right? So let me get into the story. So in my early 20s, this was probably like, I would say 2012, 2013. I wasn't shooting videos. I didn't even have a camera. I wasn't taking pictures, none of that. That shit. I was into street art. I still am. I was into street art. I was into like graffiti and things like that. And I, you know, like I said, I still am, but I was into like tagging. I was into like calligraphy and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So, I got pretty deep into the scene, like hitting up, you know, all in the websites. I was doing a blog at the time and all type of stuff. You know what I mean? So, upon being so deep into that, I came across this artist. His name was Delano Brown, right? And Delano Brown was like this young black artist based out of like Baltimore. He was like 19, 20 years old, right? And this was around the time when Instagram was popping. You know, Instagram was popping. Instagram had just came on, like it didn't just come on the scene, but it came on the scene and the trajectory, it was moving. It was moving real fast, right? So the term social media influencer and all of these terms wasn't in existence yet because people were still trying to figure out the platform. But slowly but surely it started to form its own identity, right? Anyway, so around this time, like this Delano dude, he was relatively like he wasn't big yet, but he had a buzz in the art game. You know what I mean? He had a little buzz, you know what I'm saying? And by this time he had worked with like Chris Brown and guys like Fabulous. He was noticed by a lot of celebrities and stuff. But at the time he had like 8,000, 9,000 followers, you know, which in that period was pretty good. It was decent, but you still had dudes that was getting like 100,000, 200,000 followers and stuff. People weren't really hitting millions like that yet. But that was pretty good at the time, right? So, you know, I was taken aback by his work, but I didn't know nothing about his business. You know what I'm saying? I was just taken aback by his work. And at the time, like I was really like trying to like do the whole blog, street artist scene type situation and me being an artist and me doing this and I was trying to do 4 different things at the time, right? So I'm following this dude and he has like his first art event in New York, right? I think it was his first art event ever in New York. So I went there because I wanted to get some content and things like that. So I'm thinking this is just gonna be like some regular, you know, art event. You know, I'm thinking it's gonna be like, you know, I just pull up, see his work, get to know him, and I'm out. Deuces. Right? So it was not that, right? So I pull up and there were people outside waiting, right, to get inside, right? It was like packed. And there was a lot of people indoors. Now I underestimated how big his influence was. I don't even think he knew that, right? There was New York Times was in there, Fab, his girl was there. You had some NFL players in there, some, you know, some pretty well known IG models was in there. This was like going to a Travis Scott concert. It was weird. Like, it was like the type of people that you would see in a art opening is not the type of people that were there. This was more like a mixy crowd. You know what I'm saying? It was like going to a real cool exclusive party. You know, that was it blew my mind. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, I remember looking at that event and I was like, this is dope. This is hot. This is ill. This dude is up. You know what I mean? He's making some waves. Let me study this dude. You know, like what is he doing right? You know, how is he channeling this type of success? What is he seeing that I'm not seeing? You know what I mean? Because at the time, you know, I'm trying to build whatever I'm trying to build. So I'm just trying to soak up game, right? And I'm in my like early 20s, right? So this is unlike what I ever seen. So I remember going back home just feeling this energy and this inspiration, and I'm like, yo, I need to pay attention to what this dude is doing. Like he's like, I went in there to get some content, but I came out there with some education, with curiosity, so to speak, right? So fast forward, you know, he starts dropping like merchandise, right? And now mind you, this dude did not have 100,000 followers. What was intriguing was he had like 20,000 followers, 20,000, 30,000 selling out merchandise. And he was doing, now mind you, what he was doing was, I've never seen it and I haven't seen it yet. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen anybody do it the way he did it yet. You know what I mean? He was probably the first and the only person I seen kill the merchandise game. Well, yeah, him and I would say 40-ounce Vans. Those are the only two guys that I've seen do it the way they do it. So what he would do was, he would have like a, you know, before I get into that, you know, he was painting like roses on you know, he was known for painting roses on like Timberlands and things like that, and painting, you know, roses on clothes, and he was doing a lot of like art for like celebrities and big name people, right? So he was a pretty big dude, you know what I mean, in that world, right? So he makes so when he starts dropping like merchandise, that was him transitioning from not just doing like work for like celebrities, but now he wanted to, you know, do stuff for the public. You feel me? For the general public. So what he would do was, for 24 hours he would release merchandise, like t-shirts, like custom, like t-shirts, right? And I was thinking like, okay, that could do pretty well. Like I didn't know the merchandise game like that, but I thought to myself, oh, that could, you know, he could probably get like a couple hundred tees, maybe like, you know, 90, 80 tees, you know, sell that over the course of some time. Man, first time he dropped, he probably had like 1,000 orders in 24 hours or 12 hours. I think it was 12 hours. My fault. It was 12 hours. He had 12 hours and 1,000 orders in 12 hours. I don't think anybody seen that before. I don't think I've never seen that. I don't even think big name companies seen that before, right? So I was intrigued. I was like, oh shit. Now he really got my ear, because he's doing the bits. Because even at that time, like, I wanted to get into merchandise. You know, some people don't know that. Like, I was trying to, like I said, I was trying to do 8 different things. You feel me? So I was really intrigued now. Like, yo, what is he doing? Like, this is dope. Like, this is ill. So fast forward, he throws an event um, another event in New York, but this time this wasn't like an art event. This was like, you know, some type of I would say my story type of thing. Like I'm gonna give y'all gems on how to be successful. So I said, yo, let me attend. Let me see what that's about, right? And you know, he starts going over his life story and how he was able to become successful and the type of people he worked with. You know, he worked with like Chris Brown. He worked with just Kevin Durant. He worked with all type of dudes. You feel me? He worked with like you name it. Like his client list was just crazy. Like I've never seen that trajectory ever. You feel me? So he, along the course of his lecture, so to speak, right, he said 3 important things that I'll never forget, right? He said, you gotta stick to one thing. When I found what my one thing was, I mastered it and I perfected it, and like things just took off. You know what I mean? It was hard in the beginning, but eventually he got noticed and things took off, right? Secondly, he said, you gotta know what you want. You know, you gotta know what you want. You gotta know why you're doing something, and you gotta be intentional. You know what I mean? And the third point was, don't chase. You don't need to chase people. You know, people are gonna find you. You know, if people want you, they're gonna find you. If you're really good at something, and you know, people are just they're gonna Google you, whatever. I think his terms was like, they gonna go on Google and they're gonna look for you, etc., etc. People gonna find you. You know what I'm saying? So if people want you, they're gonna come to you. You don't gotta go, you know, trying to like chase motherfuckers down and all this crap. Just, you know, do what you gotta do and people gonna come to you. And I say that because you know how people tell you these things, or you hear these things and you don't know what they meant till like you get older, and then you understand like, okay, now I see why this person said that. You know, that makes a lot of sense. You know, I understand why this person said that. And you know, when it comes to sticking to one thing, if you're, and this is just from personal experience, like if you're trying to do six different, you know, two different things, man, you're spreading yourself thin, and you're not giving yourself enough time to just hone in and perfect what it is that you can do really, really well. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are struggling with that, and I struggled with that for a while. And every so now and then, you know, I fall into that, and then I gotta pull myself out of that. You know what I mean? But you know, you gotta stay focused. You gotta have that little, like that laser focus. You get what I mean? And the pushback to that could be, you know, what about guys like Kanye? You know, what about, you know, like Steve Jobs or all these guys? But if you think about guys like Kanye's bread and butter was producing music. And then once he got so good at doing that, he branched off into doing other things. But he still had that one thing that he mastered, like Pharrell, which was producing music. You know, and then he kind of like was able to, everything else became easier when he just mastered his one thing. You get what I mean? And secondly, it was just knowing what you want. You know what I mean? If you don't have a and this really comes down to purpose. You know, if you don't know what the purpose of why you're doing something, then, you know, why are you? You know what I mean? It's gonna be hard to stay motivated and to block out any type of distractions. You know what I mean? It's gonna be easy to fall into like distractions and kind of finding yourself like trying to do different things if you don't understand exactly why you want to do something, right? And the third point was just the don't chase point. I didn't understand that because I thought, you know, you had to always like chase people down and try to get them to, I mean, you could pursue and prospect people, but some people are like overly aggressive and they're too hungry for shit, you know what I mean? And that's something I didn't understand when he said that, like don't chase, because I was the type of dude who I would say misinterpreted that, like that doesn't make any sense, you know. But as I got older, I understood what he meant, you know, which is people will notice you. You might think people don't notice you, but people, if you are really, really good at something, people will notice you. People will, like he said this, like people will actually market for you. And that's true. Like a lot of the best marketing is by word of mouth. So if you're really good, people will promote you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people will promote you. People will talk about you. People will present you to other peers. You know what I mean? Like I could think of like several examples, but the whole don't chase thing, like I'm gonna even take it back to dating, since everybody could, like, you know, most people understand it. It's like dating. When you chase women, you scare them away. You know what I mean? When you always trying to, like, you know, force them to date you and stuff like that, that creeps them the hell out. You know, you shouldn't be doing that. You know, you gotta let women come to you. Once you let women come to you, it'll just be easier, you know. Like that's how you know she really feeling you. But if you out here chasing women and you doing all type of things, like it turns people off. You know, when people, one lesson I learned was like when people think you need them, they tend to not want to help you. It's weird. It's weird, at least from what I've experienced. But I realized that people are more likely to help you and do favors for you when they think that you can in turn do the same for them, right? Like I'll take like homeless people for example. Somebody could have a pocket full of hundreds in their pocket, you know what I'm saying? They could have even a pocket full of ones and just walk right past a homeless person that's asking for some change. They probably just need 50 cents, but somebody with a pocket full of ones, maybe worth up to $100, would just walk right past that person, right? But let a dude with a Ferrari say, oh man, sheesh, like I forgot my cash at home, you mind lending me $1, sir? I guarantee you that person will probably give him $1. You know why? Because in the back of their mind, they're thinking, if I help this dude out, he has plenty. He'll help me out. At least that's what I've learned personally from experience, you know. So, you know, when you're chasing people, it signals neediness. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's pretty much like things that I learned, like as I got older, and which has benefited me, you know, along the way. You know what I mean? But I put a link to his Instagram, and you could check out his work. I know he wasn't around for a while, but he's recently resurfaced and things like that. So you could like check out his Instagram. I put a link in the bio. But yeah, man, that's what I learned, man. I learned to stick to one thing. You know what you want, and you know, don't chase, man. People will market for you. People will find you, man. But hey, that does it for today's video. I'll see y'all next time. And yeah, make sure you like, you subscribe, you know, you hit that notification button, and if you're interested in the LUT that I used in my video, you subscribe to my newsletter, and then I'll send you a link where you could download that free LUT pack. And yeah, guys, see y'all next time. Peace.